Welcome to I Need a Coach, where we interview top coaches, experts, authors, speakers, hear their stories of success, how they grow their business, and hopefully give you some ideas you can act on. My name's Adam Packard. I'm the host. For the last 7 years, we worked with over 500 coaches and consultants in helping them grow their business and help them market it effectively. Today's guest is Jen Hensley, and she is going to share not only the importance of staying in your zone of genius, but also the importance of surrounding yourself with the right team so you can grow and scale your business. I think you're going to enjoy this episode. Welcome back. My guest today is Jennifer Hensley. Jennifer, thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure. Great to be here with you.
Yeah. So tell the audience a little bit more about who you are, who you help, the kind of work you're doing now, and we'll just kind of start there and see where the conversation goes.
Yeah, sounds great. So I'm Jennifer Hensley, owner of Playmaker Coaching and Consulting, or people call me Jen, the Playmaker. So I help business owners that are in referral-based businesses, typically professional services, play their positions, stay on offense, and help them score more ideal clients and create more raving fans. So when their business feels overwhelming, unintentional, or inconsistent, we help them create a playbook for success.
Awesome. So how long have you been doing it? And give us an idea like who your ideal client is that you work with.
Yeah. So this is our 5th year. So super excited to kind of make it to that 5th year milestone. A lot of my clients are financial advisors. That was the space I was kind of in before. So that was kind of my natural market. In addition to that, I work with attorneys, small business owners, accountants, that kind of space where a lot of their clients are coming from referrals, but they see the value of having a marketing strategy to help accelerate those efforts or supplement those efforts, give them more flexibility in their business. And that's where we help come in and give them some strategies and systems to see success with that.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you used to be in the financial field. So what did you do before, the 5 years that you've been doing this? What did your career and progression look like? What did you start doing?
Yeah. So, I thought I would originally be like sports and entertainment and marketing and every kind of in that space and ended up, very quickly after I had left college and everything, with a financial services company, and did many different things. And unlike most people today, I was actually with that organization in different ways for almost 20 years. So I did everything from, practice management and operations to compliance to sales to marketing to leadership development. So I got to see many, many different parts of the business and how to work with my clients. We were advisors at the time to help them grow and how do all those things work together. So that really gave me tremendous insight going and starting my own business to understand not just one little piece and be able to go deep, but to understand how does it fit into the bigger picture. And the reason that I actually called my business Playmaker Coaching and Consulting was because I've always played sports and, on the field, I've always been like the center midfielder in soccer or the setter in volleyball, or I was the point guard many moons ago in basketball, and like being able to see how it all fits together and how do we help them ultimately, get across the finish line. That's what I feel like I've been able to do with all those years of experience and diverse background that I've had.
And so when did you make the decision to kind of go off on your own, and what prompted that?
Yeah. So it was a combination of factors. Some of it was external factors. The company was changing. I knew the division I was in was going to be changing directions. And I was kind of ready for the next stage anyway at that point. And over the years, it always felt like there was something more I should be doing. So it kind of felt like the stars were aligning that it was the right time to make that move. In addition, my husband and I, our daughter now is almost 13, but at the time I think was about 8. And it was, I always tell her to take risk and be curious. And I kind of felt like I was playing it safe of like, here's the corporate, this is what I feel like I should be doing. I had even relocated to the Milwaukee area because of my job. So it was like, if I'm not doing that, why are we even here? So I had to really change my beliefs. And it just felt like it was the right time to make that pivot and get out there and show that for myself, for my family, for those around, like there's a different way that we can approach things and we can make a bigger impact. And it's okay to take some risk and, not everything's going to work out. But, unless you get out there and start, you just never know.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great. And because I have an 8-year-old, so I can relate. So when you started the business, how did you officially kind of launch it? Did you just go to, warm market, people that you'd worked with before, friends and family? Did you just start marketing? What was that initial kind of period like when you made that decision to kind of go all in?
Yeah. Because I took a few months when I first left corporate to kind of figure out what does that look like? What is my zone of genius? What is my specialty? But once I decided hey, this is what I'm going to do. I actually had created a kind of a launch plan. So to start to create some content for social media to put out there, a one-page resource, kind of a sales slide or something that I could share with some of my previous contacts about here's how I think I can help people. And then ultimately, as I think most small business started with too, is picking up the phone and getting out there and reaching out to, those people that I did business with before or had relationships with, to, see who could I help, who might benefit from having a conversation. And quickly, thankfully, that led to some people saying, hey, I'm ready to get started. And others saying, hey, I don't think I'm ready right now, but you should go talk to so-and-so. And that got me into some different markets as well, which was really exciting to, work with a law firm and get some exposure outside of the company that I had worked with for so long to what are other companies doing and be able to bring ideas from one industry to the other that are similar, but you just apply it in different ways. So that was what it was at the beginning. Certainly that's evolved where it's still picking up the phone and having conversations and building relationships with people and having a presence online. But in addition to that, just like I talk with my clients about, it's having multiple strategies in place and always working those so that you have flexibility in your business and you can know that if one thing's not working, there's other avenues. So I do a fair amount of speaking, you're having me on here today, and educational kind of content. In addition to that, I've done a little bit of sponsorships this past year. And really those key, I call them centers of influence, or those key partners that I've aligned with have been really instrumental in the last couple of years of helping me continue to grow my business as well.
So are you still doing outbound marketing yourself and generating interest from people that don't know you, or is everything referral at this point?
I would say most people probably know of me at this point. They probably have heard my name or they've seen my content. So it's not cold outreach. But I not necessarily that, hey, so-and-so has said, call, my friend over here, you should talk to them. So there's a mix. There is definitely a lot of that. That's, hey, somebody said you should reach out to this individual. But then there's some proactive things that we're doing directly within my business as well. A couple things we do are challenges, since we love the sports and the angle of that. We do a marketing madness challenge. So that'll be coming up here in the next few weeks with March Madness. Just something fun to get people to know a little bit more about us and think about where marketing maybe fits in their business. So we do that. And in January, we run a 12 days of clients challenge, kind of like the 12 days of Christmas. So some different things that we can get out there and reach a more broad audience as well, just to share a little bit more about the work that we're doing.
That's cool. I like those. I might steal some of those. Borrow. I'll give you credit.
No worries.
12
Go
days
right ahead.
of clients.
There's more than enough for everybody.
Market. Yeah. I tell people I believe in creation, not competition. There's, everybody's going to connect with different people differently, and there's plenty of people to go around. So let me ask you this. So how do you, there's tons of coaches out there, right? And I have conversations with coaches all day long. And the one question I always ask them is, what makes you different? What makes you unique? And everybody has their own answer, and they might think that that is the differentiator. But in this world where there are millions of coaches out there vying for the same audience that you're going after, how do you separate yourself from the competition?
Yeah. And that's what I talk to my clients about all the time, right? Is how do you cut through the noise? How do you be that brownie in a sea of chocolate chip cookies? And I think for my clients, part of it is the fact that, like I said, is that I have seen so many different aspects of their business and been intimately involved with it. I understand how it works together and how to think big picture, as well as actually have the tenacity to get it done. I think, I don't know if you're familiar with the 6 working geniuses. But it's a framework that I really like, and talks about our different zones of genius. And a lot of people will talk about, are you a starter? Are you a finisher? Are you an opener or closer? I like the way they frame it because they've broken it down a little bit differently. And for me, my strengths are number one in discernment of should we do this? Should we not do this? What makes sense? helping the clients that I work with that are the really big picture wonder dreamer people to figure out, does this make sense and how it makes sense for them or not in their practice. And then my other towering strength is in tenacity. So I can figure out the way then of like, hey, whatever we're going to do, how do we actually get it all the way into implementation? And I don't think there's a lot of people necessarily that maybe pair those two as their strongest geniuses that they have of being able to really be on the kind of that front end of thinking forward of where are we going and how do we get there, and then can actually drive it all the way through execution. And I think that's one of the things that I'm really able to do for my clients. And then I just really believe in being an owner. I know this is something I've had some challenges with in my practice at times with my team, is having people that really feel vested and like they're part of it. They want to see you succeed, and they're owning like, how do we get you to that finish line? So compared to some, marketing agencies where it's all about maybe just like branding or like one little piece of the puzzle and they're going to do that, my goal is always to understand what my clients' business goals are and personal, professional goals that they want to achieve, why it's important to them. And ultimately, how do I help them get to that end result? That marketing's a part of that, or, if we're looking at specific measures, that's a part of it. But ultimately, it's like, how are we getting you to the end result? So for instance, I had a law firm that I've worked with that they got to a point where they needed to recruit more attorneys. And while that wasn't directly necessarily, a marketing responsibility, it could be seen as more of an HR responsibility. They can't support more clients if we don't have the attorneys in place. So I could step in and think from a marketing perspective, how are we positioning them and the culture of the firm on their website, and helping to do some of the job postings and the social media content to attract that talent, to solve that. Because if we don't solve that, they're not going to be able to support more clients anyway. So however I can best support my clients, I really want to be flexible to their changing needs, knowing most of my clients are 3 to 15 years in business. So they're still kind of early growth, and it's changing rapidly for them, and they need that flexibility in their business.
So one thing I picked up on, what you leveraged your background with the work that you're doing now. And I think that's, what most coaches usually do is they have an expertise in a certain area, or they worked in a certain industry. And then when they move on to coaching or consulting, they're leveraging the knowledge and skill set. So when you reach out to people, you immediately have that instant connection. Like, I've been in your shoes. I know how this works. I can help you in these areas. How helpful is that? I mean, if instead of, if you had chosen to do a completely different type of coaching, like life coaching or career counseling, right? Kind of finding your path based on what your background and experience was, and then kind of turning it into your own thing and making it better as you go.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps that. I had that. It cuts through it that people automatically give me a different level of credibility, because they're like, oh my gosh, you've worked in this industry for 20 years and you've done all of these things. Wow, you understand. So like you said, I think that's made a huge difference. And I think it helps so many people. I often will talk with clients that are kind of hesitant to share their journey, or to lean into that they're like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't tell that, I struggled with this in the past, or that, I went through this transition in my life. But I think that's what also makes us authentic, that people want to connect with us when they know that, we've kind of had some experiences similar to them. They can connect with us, but then we've had some other things now that really allow us to help them. And we're, a step or two ahead of them, that you're not so far, the person it's like, when you, go to sometimes like look and buy a car, there's a very difference of if you want to buy like the Cadillac versus the Ford, like sometimes what's more relatable to you and where you're at. And sometimes that person that's just a little bit ahead of us can really help us get to that next milestone. Yeah. If we're willing to embrace really who we are.
Yeah. So what's the biggest challenge you have in your business right now?
Probably similar to somewhat some of my clients is just like continuing to scale. That I have a lot of clients that really appreciate that one-on-one support, the flexibility, diving in deep with them. But you can only do that for so many people at that level. So, working with my team to build, who can do different parts of my business, what's the best use of my time to really be able to deliver the things that only I can really do versus, where can I continue to build my team to support certain projects and things that some of my clients might say. I think that's the part that I'm continuing to work through. And there's always technology things, right? Trying to keep up with all the changing environment around us. I love doing that. I love listening to all the different podcasts, like what you provide and everything, and hearing from other people, other experts, but it's always changing. So I think that's continuing to be something where it just goes faster and faster, and you got to try to stay relevant.
Yeah. So when you say you're growing your team, so how big is your team right now? And what's the goal, I guess, for this year in terms of like what people you're having in certain roles? Is it someone that's just doing admin? Someone does your social media? Someone does your marketing? Or what hats do people wear?
Right now, I have an online business manager and their team that really do a lot of running kind of the overall marketing, like project management, coordinating some of my other team members and everything. And they have other people behind them. So if we need somebody specific to create an email or something like that, they have some different technical experts as part of their team. Then I have I would say more of like my administrative assistant that used to work with me. We stopped working together for a period of time and now is back. So I'm excited to have her back with the firm. And she's handling a lot of the day-to-day things, reaching out to clients for following up on things, keeping things moving, helping support a lot of the administrative aspects. And then I have a social media manager that does a fair amount of my social media content. And then I have other just partners that I use for certain efforts, especially through now an affiliate relationship that I have where I have a graphic designer, other coaches that specialize in business planning or in leadership development. So as I'm working with certain clients and we need different expertise or certain things created for them, I can tap into those experts as well. So I have access to a lot of them. There's some that are newer relationships. So I think there's some of that we're still kind of working through. How do we just most efficiently support our the clients and hand things off, or how much we each need to be involved as we're doing certain projects. The part where I'm hoping to build in the future is to have somebody else on my team that can do some more things with my clients. So bringing somebody else that has some of that same first-hand experience that I had, that I can bring in, that understands a little bit more of their world themselves, that can come in and start to take on some of those pieces that I would do directly for my clients.
Awesome.
That's where we're hoping for the future.
I think, and you're probably very similar to kind of when I started doing what we're doing, a little bit longer, 6-7 years ago. I'm doing it all myself, right? You're doing all your own prospecting. You're doing all your own fulfillment. You're doing all your follow-up. You're doing all your writing, all your social media. And I think you have to do it yourself first before you can outsource it to somebody else, just to understand the process. But bringing on team members that can take some of the stuff off your plate that might not be, like you talk about with your clients, their zone of genius. If it's not your zone of genius, find someone else that they love to do it and can take that part off your plate is very smart. If you were to start your business over, though, if you would go back 5 years and said, I'm going to relaunch this, knowing now what I know now, what would you do different, if anything?
Gosh, that's such a big question. It's definitely changed. Like at the beginning, I launched my business and I thought I was only going to do more of the strategy and the coaching side. And then so many of my clients said, but can you do it for me? And I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll see how that goes and stuff. And that's added some complexity, but it's also really advanced the work, where I know if I would just say like, here, go do this, 90% of them probably wouldn't actually go do the thing. I probably would have started more in that space of with that foresight of like, how do I design this so that I can provide the strategy and the tools to get it done to begin with. The other things, certainly there's been some things with how I've set myself up for pricing that I've evolved. I think I discounted myself too much.
It's an interesting one, yeah. Oh, you discounted?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that I was like, oh, well, I don't want to overprice myself. And, not knowing sometimes what other people are charging, you're like, I don't know, maybe this amount and everything. And I thought too small and discounted my value that I was really providing and stuff. So there were certain things I'd do where it's like, oh, if you buy more, you get it at a lesser rate. And all of a sudden I looked at, how much I'm getting paid and I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing to myself? And I'm like, I'm disincentivizing really, the results of what we're trying to accomplish. So I would have structured that differently than what I did. I think early on I invested a lot in people and expertise versus technology, and that's actually something I wouldn't change. I think that really did benefit me to get off to a fast start and everything, is to leverage other people's expertise and not all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm paying hundreds of dollars for this tool and all this technology that can add up super quick. So there's been some things that, I feel like I wouldn't have done differently, and some things that, we all learn and wish we could go back and do it a different way. But I think it's gotten me to where I'm at right now. So I still appreciate these are my problems to continue to solve and design. And that gets me excited because I feel like there's still so much more I want to continue to be able to deliver for my clients.
Yeah, no, I mean, when we started, I think our offer has probably changed 20 times in the last 7 years, right? It's like, I got to, figure out what's the market, look, what are other people doing? How do we stand out? How do we position ourselves differently? I think in the beginning, I was enrolling people onto like a 12-month agreement. And then looking back, I'm like, why would I sign someone up for 12? No one wants to try something for a year, right? It's like, you don't sign up for a personal trainer at the gym for a year. You go for, maybe 2 months of work and see how it goes first. But no, that's awesome. So what's the goal for this year? Where do you want to grow the business? Are you working on any fun projects, writing a book, have a podcast, anything like that?
We got lots of exciting things. This is, with it being year 5, like I said, like I feel like this is like a breakout year. A book about, it's easier to go 10x versus 2x, and that's really kind of where we're going this year, is like blowing the doors off of it. Of how we can impact more people. So more than doubling what we've done in the last couple of years and everything. So super excited about that. Off to a great start this year. Part of that is through, the way we've restructured some of the pricing and being able to support our higher tier clients and what their needs are. And then we have a new group program that we're just starting actually here very soon. That's going to hopefully be able to allow us to support some of those people that aren't really necessarily ready for a lot of that, like you said, that year-long commitment, let's get married, but they are eager and they want to grow and they know there's some value there. So how can we support them? So super excited for that. A lot of the other things, it's just more tweaks than like big brand new initiatives. It's just, we've been working a lot with the team I have now to fine tune our processes so we can just go faster and we can rinse and repeat things so that we can be more efficient and focus in on, what's that next big thing that we'll do probably in 2025.
So the little marketing things you do, like the 12 days of clients, do you come up with those, or do you have someone that just focuses on different little fun projects like that?
Right now, those are my things. I usually have like a parking lot of different things where it's like, oh, that'd be kind of fun, or I like that. Like, what do we do about this? So the team usually is more so like having to help me, like, okay, how quickly can we implement these things? Like, what do we go after? Because I know like one of the new things we are launching this year is we're finally getting off to an official newsletter. That we've done newsletter communications, but we actually haven't had a subscription. So we're finally getting that off the ground. So trying to make sure that we don't have too many things, or when do we do that? One of the other things I'm super excited about this year, actually, we kind of started last year, is we're doing more of this, called our calendar catalyst of how do we connect with our clients and prospects just even more throughout every 90 days in some creative way. So February, there's a day kind of deemed Determination Day, when most people give up on their New Year's resolutions. And instead, we sent our clients all a little gift, to say, hey, we're thinking about you. We're so excited for where you're going to be going, knowing they're just getting started. They're not giving up yet. So finding those little moments. We're going to do something for March Madness because obviously that's kind of a fun thing, ties in with our brand, to once again, to set ourselves apart of like, it's not just like, hey, here's the Christmas card when everybody else is sending you something, but how can we stay in front of them and thinking about them throughout the year? So I know that is a little bit more, I took us in a little different direction there, but it's certainly kind of a balance right now. That's something I'd like to see more of my team in the future come up and share what else they think we could be doing, because I know I don't have all the ideas. There's so many other people that probably have some great ideas out there as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a good, you're hitting all these different topics. Obviously you're doing some unique marketing things. You've surrounded yourself with a good team. You recognize the fact that you need to appreciate and stay in touch with your clients regularly to make sure that, they don't feel forgotten. So you're doing a lot of great things. What if you're talking to a coach right now that's kind of just getting their business going, or maybe they're struggling, what advice would you have for someone that's, kind of trying to break into the space or trying to level up their business?
Yeah. Yeah. And I always love helping other people because I think there were so many people that have poured into me and continue to pour into me and just give their time even free just to share their thoughts and their experience. So, that's probably one of the biggest things is don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask. That a lot of people do want to give back and are willing to spend time with you. I was amazed when I left corporate how many resources were available in the, online or in the Milwaukee area that I could tap into that I had no idea existed. But if you start talking to people and you put it out there, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. What do you think about this? Ask for their advice. You'll be amazed at how much that can really help you get to where you want to go. So I would say, first and foremost, surround yourself with good people, reach out to them, tap into them. And then along those same lines, like I talked about, is focus on the relationships over all the different technology and tools. Like those are important. They will help you. They will help accelerate things. But you need people first and foremost, people that can help you get to that next level. So think about how you can tap in those people that can just get you there faster, that you don't have to do it all yourself. You don't have to be the expert at everything. Own what your genius is. Like we started this conversation with, of what you really enjoy, what makes you different, and be okay with that. Be okay with saying you don't have to be everything to everyone.
No, that's awesome. Jen, this has been super informative and educational and inspiring. So thank you for coming on. Now's your chance to share how people can find you and connect with you, of course, on LinkedIn, but feel free to share a little bit more about how they can find you.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me. I'm glad that we connected, and we connected because you set yourself apart in a compelling way, and it was like, oh, that resonated with me. So I know you get this world and what it takes and everything. So certainly people can connect with me on LinkedIn, Jen the Playmaker Coaching. We're on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel, Facebook. So any social media platform, whatever you prefer, you should be able to find us there. We've got a lot of great resources you can tap into. One that I would suggest, maybe if people want to learn more, is start around their own marketing journey. Is we have our SCORE winning system assessment that anybody can take to kind of get a sense of where are you at in your own journey. Because I don't think it's a one size fits all. And that really helps everybody think about, where are those opportunities that they might have in their own business. And then if they want to talk through that or schedule a consultation with us, we always have access to a free consultation to talk about how you can make marketing easy, because it doesn't have to be so hard. So I think you'll be sharing out maybe some of the links for that so they can tap into those. And we look forward to having some conversations if we can be a resource and a connector for anyone.
Awesome. Jen, thank you so much for being on. Well, I'm sure we'll chat again soon. And thanks for adding a lot of value. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you for joining us on this episode of I Need a Coach. If you've made it this far, I genuinely appreciate your dedication. Putting this podcast together takes a lot of time and energy. In return, we only ask one thing, which is if you could please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This helps our show get in front of more people so we can help more people. This is Adam Packard signing off. Keep coaching, keep thriving, and see you in the next episode.